Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel The Cyclins. Today we are diving into a really fascinating topic: how people in history have weaved childhood and how those weaves have shaped child psychology as we know it today. Believe it or not, a modern understanding of children as innocent, curious, and in need of care was not always the norm. Over time, the concept of childhood has changed a lot. So, let's explore these changes across history from ancient times to the modern age. In ancient civilizations like those of Greece and Rome, children were not seen as a special or separate stage of life. Instead, they were often viewed as miniature adults. Childhood was not considered unique or important on its own. As soon as children were physically able, they were expected to take part in adult activities like working, marrying young, or even fighting in wars. In these societies, there were few protections for children and very little emotional attention was given to their development. While philosophers like Plato and Aristotle did talk about education and moral development, the overall treatment of children remained largely practical and strict. Moving into the Middle Ages, things were still very tough for children. Life was hard, survival was uncertain, and many children died young due to poor health and living conditions. Because of this, children were often seen more as economic assets than individuals needing care. Parents were generally more focused on discipline and obedience rather than emotional connection. Education was not widespread, and children from poor families had to work from a young age. Those from noble families might get some schooling or religious training, but childhood was still not seen as a special phase needing protection or understanding. Things began to change during the Renaissance and especially during the Enlightenment in the 17th and 18th centuries. This is when thinkers and philosophers started to ask deeper questions about human nature, learning, and development. A very important figure here is John Locke, an English philosopher. He introduced the idea of tabula rasa, which is nothing but blank slate. According to Locke, children are born without built in knowledge and they learn everything to experience and their environment. This was a big shift. It meant children were not just little adults, they were moldable beings who needed guidance and care. Around this time, education also started gaining importance, and people began to believe that the early years of life had a strong impact on who a person becomes. Another major voice in the 18th century was Jean-Jacques Rousseau, a French philosopher. He had a very different view from earlier generation. Rousseau believed that childhood is a natural and valuable stage of life, and children are not just adults in training, they have their own ways of thinking and learning. In his famous book Emily, Rousseau explained how children should be allowed to grow and develop naturally without being forced to act like adults too soon. He encouraged kindness, understanding, and freedom in raising children. His ideas laid the foundation for what we now call developmental psychology. By the 19th century, the weave of childhood had changed significantly. People began recognizing that children needed love, care, education, and protection. This was a time of major social reforms. Child labor laws were introduced, schools were built, and psychologists began studying childhood more seriously. This period also saw the rise of modern schooling, which was seen as a way to prepare children for adulthood. Parents were encouraged to invest in their children's development, and education became more structured. The 20th century saw the scientific study of child development take off. Psychologists like Sigmund Freud, Jean Piaget, and Erik Erikson gave us powerful theories that changed how we understand the mind and emotional growth of children. Freud talked about how early experiences shape personality. Piaget studied how children think and learn at different stages. Erikson explored how identity is built across different ages starting from infancy. This period also saw attention to emotional needs, mental health, and even rights of children. The idea that children are individuals with feelings, thoughts, and needs became widely accepted. Today, we know that childhood is not just a time of physical growth, it's a critical foundation for emotional, mental, and social development. Parents, teachers, and psychologists all work together to make sure children have healthy environments to grow in. We now focus on nurturing, supporting mental health, and respecting children's voices. We understand that the brain is still developing and that love, care, and stability are essential for a happy life. So, as you can see, the idea of childhood has come a long way from children being seen as tiny adults to now being recognized as unique individuals with their own needs and stages of development. Understanding this history helps us appreciate how far we have come and how important it is to support children in every way. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more interesting topics in psychology and